East Asian countries. It marks the beginning of the lunar calendar, with each year being represented by a cycle of 12 animals that determine the goals and dynamics of that year. 2020 is the year of the rabbit. The rabbit is a symbol of peace, intellect, and caution in many celebrating cultures. The year calls for deep, deliberate actions of empathy and compassion, and the nurturing of relationships within ourselves, with others, and with the world. This is a drastic transition from last year's Year of the Tiger that prompted swift and powerful, even impulsive action. Though traditions differ from region to region, for example, Vietnam is celebrating the Year of the Cat this year instead of the Year of the Rabbit, one thing is unanimous. It is a time of gathering with our friends and families and reflecting on the meaningful steps we took over the past year and which steps we seek to take this year. Undoubtedly, traditions have shifted as we live apart from our families, but we want to extend our celebrations to the SAS family here and share our experiences and thoughts with you tonight. Thank you.
Hours of deep contemplation and inedible frustration, I present to you in the shortest time I can manage a reflection on Lunar New Year and what it means to me as a student here at SAS. This, as you know, is a time of celebration, of reunion, and of happiness. And for many of the international students here, we unite not with our families on this day, but rather with each other and the school community. And it's never that we hate each other at school, hopefully. It's just an incomprehensible and unspoken feeling that I can't really describe when you see your friends and roommates pack their bags to go home, when yours is at least 15 hours away by flight. And especially last year, COVID protocols really made it worse, which included the classical 14-day quarantine, which many of you may be familiar with, and in the worst times, the 21 days of quarantine in a 10-meter squared hotel room. Many reasons prevent me from returning to the familiar embrace of home. And I really don't mind staying at school, for example, for long weekends. It has a different vibe, it's fun, it's great, but knowing that 87% of the community here at SAS are able to go home for even a 4-day break sometimes raises a little bit of frustration in me when they say phrases such as, I wish I don't have to stay, I have to go home this time, I low-key want to stay, which, although is completely understandable, sometimes raises just a little bit of frustration in me. What pains me the most is the feeling of having to say goodbye to someone without knowing that that was simply the last time you'll ever say goodbye to them again. And especially this past long weekend encapsulating the Lunar New Year was probably the time of the year I felt the most longing to be with my family. And I wonder how lucky it is for people to have choices between going back home and staying at school. However, this does not mean that I cannot enjoy my time at school for New Year. During long weekend, many students who stayed on campus helped decorate the chapel, which you see is actually really beautiful. And we had long and short trips off campus to enjoy time with each other. And the faculty who stayed were also extremely eager to help with any of our needs. And these are just some of the situations that I treasure the most during my time at St. Andrews. And also tells me, maybe, yeah, we don't secretly hate each other. But I feel like the most important is that, I feel that though I'm physically far away from home, that I feel a similar embrace that I feel at home, even though it's never identical to home. And I can't express my gratitude for many of my friends who have been extremely comforting and supportive of my emotions, my periodic existential crises, and occasional silly tantrums that may or may not have occurred more frequent than expected. This Lunar New Year is a time I feel the celebration, the reunion, and the happiness that I felt during other moments during this time of the year in my childhood. And once again, I'm grateful for everyone that made this happen by supporting our traditions and cultures and made this chapel happen, and also made my happiness happen again too. I wish everyone heartfelt gatherings with their family, less stress, more fun, and simply a great year of the 2023 Rabbit Year. Thank you.
Look up at the white clouds and the clear winter skies, while standing like the bold trees of the earth. May the coming new year be full of dreams for you and me, in this eternal cycle of the moon and the sun, where one year goes and another arrives. You and I, we accompany the established bridge of our unique lives. In this coming new year, we shall choose to use our love to stay close to one another.
Hi everyone. Lunar New Year has never been the same since I left China in 2017. Every Lunar New Year in Canada, my parents would invite another friend or two to dinner at home. Only the lights of the dining room would be on, people's chattering accompanied with very occasional laughters echoed loneliness. Since then, the Lunar New Year has lost its festiveness. So when January came around the corner, I find myself still missing Wuhan, my hometown. I dream of devouring the steamed rice pork ribs with taros that my uncle made every dinner, a classic dish of the Bao family. I dream of sitting around a tiny glass table watching the Spring Festival annual spectacle and commenting how much more the show sucked than last year. I dream of fighting for rat packets in a family group chat while all of us were literally in the same room. Of course, this virtual fight would turn into real-life shouting when someone didn't get a rat packet, or the WeChat system decides that someone only gets 1 cent in a $100 rat packet that everyone opens and gets a random amount of money. I never thought these dreams would come true again. Gradually, my wish for Lunar New Year faded. Coming to the States for school, its notion had become even more dead to me. What can be a bad circumstance other than a fancy dinner with my mom and a bunch of her mild acquaintances that happened to live near Philadelphia? However, I was wrong. It was the Thursday of exam week. During study hall, I received a message saying, "Function at 10" in the outdoor group chat from our amazing RL. Thinking I would just check in, skip the function, and contemplate on the essay total eclipse, I walked into the corner room and just saw this huge jar of Chinese branded jellies and biscuits. I got so excited already because my mom never let me eat jellies because she thinks I'm going to choke myself. I forgot immediately I was planning to leave. As I walked into the crowd, I saw there was a dish of dumplings. It was absolutely delicious. Then the best part came. We were playing a game called Stealing Rat Packets. The seniors started to pass out paper slips numbered 1 to 9 in Chinese characters as the order to get a rat packet. It was very funny because my roommate all of a sudden shouted 1, 2, 3 in Chinese and started repeating the Chinese pronunciation of her name. Obviously, it was because these were the only words she knew. She sounded like a little parrot in a cute way, though. Then the real game started. Everyone was so engaged and excited to get our rat packets, reacting and laughing to what each other got. I was yelling at Abby, who was on the other side of the room, saying that I would steal her rat packet that says, "Wawa wrong with Miss Huang Riffy." I mean, everyone would want that. I didn't do that at the end, though. No one actually stole someone else's rat packet. We were civilized people. In fact, if Alabama ever plays Monopoly, we would share the properties at the end. After everyone got their rat packets, I was looking around the very well-illuminated room. I saw people holding their rat packets, chatting and laughing so loudly that their voices echoed. Suddenly, I was reminded of home. I felt a sense of warmth and happiness that I felt only when I was in Wuhan celebrating Lunar New Year with my entire family. It was a magical feeling, and the next thing I knew, there were tears in my eyes. Lunar New Year felt alive again at that particular moment. That Thursday in the Owl common room with all the Owl residents. Now I can truly say SAS make me feel like home. Thank you all for celebrating this special day with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the service. Thank you.
I lay, scrolling for a poem that represented me, one that could convey my split identity. The mooncakes I would share with my mother, and the Korean games I played with family and friends. Nothing could encapsulate the joy I felt with my brother, or the sadness I felt as the celebrations came to an end. I am American, that is a fact I cannot escape. My chopped Chinese and non-existent Korean paint a story of a child unable to connect with his motherland's fabled histories. But for just one day of the year, I am elated to partake in the aspect of myself I have long left desolate in pain. So, as the sacred time comes to an end, I close my eyes to treasure the moment and wrap my arms around a friend.
Adaptation of a traditional Buddhist prayer for the new year. O great compassionate Buddha, may we create harmony and happiness with friends and loved ones, health in body and mind, contentment in our lives and compassionate acts to help the world, emotional clarity and nobility of character, wholesome habits, diligence in cultivation, and greater wisdom, a stable society and happiness for all people, peace on earth and universal rejoicing.
The first day of first grade, I went to school with my roller backpack in one hand and my stuffed bunny in the other. I went everywhere with my rabbit, and I wasn't embarrassed yet. Plenty of my first grade peers brought their own stuffed animals to school, and it was a great way to make friends. Seriously, it was so easy. I like your stuffed bunny. My bunny's name is Mr. Hopper. What's your bunny's name? And so on. It got a little weirder on the first day of second grade. Not as many kids felt the need to bring their stuffed companion. I got a couple of weird looks. Still, I didn't feel right without my rabbit bunny on my side. Now, the first day of third grade. Not great. The bunny was all matted by this point, and the stuffing was falling out. It was a pretty bad looking bunny, but it brought me a comfort that nothing else could. I got it at IKEA from a bin full of the exact same manufactured dolls. But mine was special. My mom, my brother, and I had just immigrated from Korea. We were there shopping for furniture to fill up the empty apartment that didn't feel like home. From that day, walking out the cool IKEA doors into the Texas heat, my rabbit didn't leave my side. Bringing it to first grade, second grade, and third grade, to a school full of incomprehensible English words and things I had never heard of, like dodgeball and zombie tag, was my way of making this place home. As I enter this year of the rabbit, I'm thinking of my rabbit that gave me the peace and strength to keep going. In the same way, the year of the rabbit is all about peace and hope for the future. The rabbit is wise and thoughtful. It doesn't let hardship stop it from maintaining these traits. Not only is it the year of the rabbit, it's the year of the water rabbit. Water, which can flow with immense power, but can also nourish and cleanse. Together, the water rabbit suggests making decisions cautiously with plenty of thought behind your words and your actions. As Heidi said, the year calls for deep, deliberate actions of empathy. As we enter the year of the water rabbit, think of the everyday meaningful gestures of empathy and compassion. Think inwards and think outwards. Think, what do others around me need? What does my community need? Let's enter 2023 lifting each other up.
And so we wish each and every one of you a happy Lunar New Year, or 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
祝大家新年快樂。
Happy Lunar New Year!
Okay.
3, 2, 1.